Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live. Talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to lynncullenshow@gmail.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
Hey there, and welcome to the program. It is September 20. Man, always strikes me as later than I think it is. But there it is, September 20, 2022. It's a Tuesday, and that means my sister Susan should be on the line. Suze?
It's always so much fun to listen to you wonder whether I'm here or not.
I know. Well, I wasn't sure. I'm never sure. That's true. You know how often we do this, though, too? I say...
Every day, every time.
Should be here, and then you say, so we should probably stop. I'll just introduce you. If you're not there, then.
That apparently is our introduction to each other.
Well, I think, the time I do introduce you is if you are there, then you won't be there. That's the way that's going to happen. Hey.
Don't I already? It's going to be a good day. I know, because it's street cleaning day, and all the cars on my block moved, and the guy came by 15 minutes early. They were gone, and he was early, so we did my street back and forth and back. That never happened, so I'm very happy.
My street never gets cleaned, and I don't think it makes any difference. I don't understand the street cleaning thing.
If you lived in Chicago, you would.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I live in a city. I don't get it. Just looks to me, they go around with the brushes, and so what?
Well, around here, it keeps the sewers functioning so that falling leaves and trash don't dry on top of the sewer grates and stuff like that. And people are really awful around here.
So are they vacuuming stuff? Are they vacuuming
They
stuff
vacuum up lots of stuff, yes.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe that's it. I don't get it.
They vacuum up paper cups. They vacuum up sticks. They vacuum stuff up.
Yeah, little critters.
And they wash, too. Little dead critters, right. Okay.
No, even little living critters. Imagine being in the wrong place at the wrong time. You're minding your business. You're going home, and bang, oh, that's it.
That happens to people hiding in trash compactors all the time.
Oh, God. Not funny.
No, it isn't, but it is. I mean, people that hide in it's happened to kids. It's happened to grown-ups. I mean, you're hiding and along comes a truck. Boom.
That reminds me of a question I've often had, like, why would you fall asleep in a place where that could happen? In other words, where it wasn't like a long shot. It's why I've never understood people dying because they were lying on the train track. I mean, they weren't intending to kill themselves.
Most of these people are not famous for making good decisions in the first place.
Well, I would imagine not, but still. Why? First of all, a train track is not a comfortable place to lie down.
Well, I would think if one chose to lie down on a train track, it would be in order to kill oneself.
It would seem so, but I do believe that a lot of people, I don't know a lot, I don't think those are all suicides. I don't. It could be somebody, I don't know. It's one of those mysteries. Here, speaking of mistakes, here's a cute quote. Groucho Marx, so worth hearing always. Learn from the mistakes of others. You can never live long enough to make them all yourself. But you know what? We often don't. It's true. I don't know that you learn by observing somebody else. Maybe you do. Maybe
no, absolutely you do. You do. This is why I told you were such a good sister.
Oh, I know that's where you were going. Okay, right. So you watched me screw up.
No, I not only watched you, but you were good enough to come and tell me when you screwed up and to tell me not to do what you did. And boy, did I listen.
Oh, well.
And you were funny, too. I mean, they were always these horrible stories, and we were laughing. Honest to Pete.
God. Wonder what they all were.
Well, I'll tell you sometime.
No, I don't know if you. I've forgotten most of my life. Sometimes. Well,
let's just say that the way that we have always dealt with trauma is to laugh.
Right. Sure. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Indeed. I am just tiptoeing into this show today because I don't know. Yesterday's show, I had a very sort of intense, ranty political show, and I sort of don't feel I have it in me again to do that. So I'd like to steer clear, and yet, so much is going on that sort of pulls you in that direction. So it's I don't know. Difficult. Let's see. This is odd. I read in the New York Times, they did a thing of the 50 best restaurants in the country. I hate these things because, who the hell knows? They didn't go to all the restaurants.
Who the hell knows? And that means you can never go to that restaurant again.
Right, and it also could mean that usually it seems they're trendy, they're like stuff that whatever. So there's a restaurant in Pittsburgh that's on the list. I never heard of it, and it's near me. I've never heard of it, but that to me underscores why so often I think these lists are made up of
right. It's not like you don't know people that know things like this and would take you to places like this.
But food critics would know of this. Have you heard of this unusual? And then you look at what it is. By the way, for anybody who's wondering, it's in Bloomfield and it's called Apteca. And, it might be wonderful. It has a strike against it for me because it says it's vegan.
Ick.
But, I mean, vegan, there's good vegan.
Oh, no, I don't. I mean, yeah. I know,
but it's just.
Vegetarian can be delicious. Vegan, it begins to restrict me beyond the ways that I want to be restricted.
Yeah, exactly. Vegan seems pretty intense, and a lot of things fall away that you would really, not have. So, but it does sound interesting. It says it opened in 2016. So I got to tell you, word of mouth in my crowd, absolute silence.
It might be because for precisely the reason you said. It's a vegan restaurant, and nobody cared.
But listen to this, and this doesn't make me want to go. Anyway,
this is the negative review, having not even been. Go ahead.
And I want to say that these people are, I'm sure they're wonderful, it's a husband and wife, or as they say, life partners. I don't know what that means.
No, well, what we should start out by saying is Mazel Tov. Congratulations. You made it on such a list, and you're going to be full for a long time.
Yeah, and people who live even 6 blocks away never even heard of you. That's amazing. So anyway, it turns out the husband here, or the life partner male, grew up
the cisgendered male who is in a long-term relationship with a female previously known as marriage, but we don't know whether they legalized it or not. So therefore,
don't know if they call it marriage. It says in the article, life partner. So I'm assuming that's how they identified themselves. Who the hell knows? Anyway, here. It says, don't miss the celeriac schnitzel.
Well, isn't that just celery root schnitzel?
I don't know. It says don't miss it, so...
I bet you that's just a braised celery root done as a schnitzel with...
Wait, listen to this, but don't miss the celeriac schnitzel and the cultured nut milk.
Okay, I'm not going.
But Susan, it says the nut milk is as lush as
I don't care. I don't care. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm from the dairy state, you know. You lose me at nut milk.
Okay. So it says here that the guy is the male here is a son of Polish immigrants, grew up visiting relatives with abundant gardens around Warsaw, and hence you get this restaurant considered now, according to some, at the New York Times, one of the 50 best restaurants in the country. I'm not even going to go try it. It's just not my kind of thing. It says they've built depth, texture, and flavor with fermentation. It's probably very healthy for you.
I'm sure it's it's probably even delicious, but I just start getting grumpy at the it just makes me think about all the things that I can't have when I go there instead of all the things that I can have when I go there. And I say this over the course of the last 5 years, going from not 5 years, say 10 years, going from a basically red meat diet to frequently a vegetarian diet.
Yeah, I do a lot more vegetarian now than I used to.
And I wouldn't, or fish. I ate fish 3 nights in a row. I mean, I used to hate fish. Now I actively like it.
Margaret has written, who doesn't love nut milk?
Me.
I don't even know I didn't know nuts have milk.
Almond milk is a nut milk.
Yeah. Okay, so it's nut milk. Oh God.
I think Oatly is basically a nut milk. It's made from the,
I give up. All right. So anyway, there it is. It's in Bloomfield, and all of a sudden they're going to be very popular. Just telling you. I have friends that'll definitely go try it just because one of the 50 best restaurants.
We got to go.
I mean, you do. You have to go. I think there was another restaurant that got this kind of acclaim some years ago, and it too was in the same area. It was in Bloomfield or Garfield or something. And man, you could, as you said earlier, you couldn't get into it. I never ever went into it ever because again, what I understood the menu to be was off-putting, and it on the opposite side was, I think, mostly meat. Very odd. Anyway, I give up. So that's enough of this. Can we get serious for a minute?
It's your show.
I guess it is. Okay. This came across my desk.
Metaphorical.
Yeah, because I don't have one. This came across my eyeballs. And it looked like really heavy. But I thought maybe we could, parse it together. Because I know it is something that is important. I know it is something that is important and has to be done. I don't see how it's going to be done. And it's about the fact that the structure of our democracy isn't working. That the idea of people having equal votes, like Americans having equal power in our government, is just, it ain't working. And the ones who don't have the power are people like me and you who live in urban areas. It's people who live in rural areas and sparsely populated states that have outsized power by virtue of the structure. I mean, take the Senate, the electoral
Well, by virtue of the structure and gerrymandering.
And gerrymandering, right. So 200 political scientists who are considered some of the best in political science. I guess there's some prestigious award called the Johann Skytz Prize that 9 of these guys have won, just showing, and some of these names I actually recognize, like Francis Fukuyama, that guy I know. Not that I tend to know these kind of academics. They got together and actually agreed on a fix of sorts. And they wrote a letter to Congress, which was published yesterday. And they say it is clear that our winner-take-all system, where each House district is represented by a single person, is fundamentally broken. So they're just focused on
the House of Representatives.
That's right. And, given its name, it, more than the Senate, was, according to the founders, expected to represent the people. And they say it ain't working. And a lot of it, of course, has to do with gerrymandering. Here's what they are saying needs to be done. This is what I want to parse together. They want to shift from where voters in each of the 2 parties first choose their representatives through primaries. Okay, that's what we're doing. Yeah, right. The Democrats and the Republicans choose their candidates through a primary. And then a single winner is chosen during the general election. That, they say, has got to go and instead replaced by a system in which voters choose multiple members to represent the same area, with votes allocated proportionally to the population. Now, that is already sort of in use in Arizona in some places. It's widespread in a lot of other countries. And what it does is it dilutes the power of extremists and extremist parties. Now, here's the thing, though. That would require an act of Congress.
Yeah, you'd have to completely.
So how do you get the very people whose jobs could well be in jeopardy to vote on something that would be?
Well, in this day and age, you can't, because we already have one party that simply, has warned us that they will, if they don't win every race, they'll claim that, it was rigged. So we already know that those people wouldn't act in any way that they perceived to be against their own power, because that's what they worship. So that's just where we are. I mean, we can come up with all these ideas, but until there is a fundamental change among the people that have a stranglehold on us, we're going to be in trouble. And I'm hoping that as they march themselves further and further towards, outright open fascism, then they repel more and more people, that it's going to take care of itself. I mean, I'm hoping that's what we're seeing with the Roe v. Wade decision.
I hope too. Here's what it says. I mean, they actually they talk about Pennsylvania. They say things are so bad in some states, and Pennsylvania is one of them, where one of the parties doesn't even bother fielding a candidate.
That happens all over. That happens in Missouri and certain, races all the time. You can't get a Democrat to run. That's a waste of money.
You can't get there within the area of the city. Sometimes Republicans don't bother, but all throughout the Pennsylvania, with the exception of where the cities are, especially Philly and Pittsburgh, often right Democrats. So one. No,
that's the same way. That mirrors
the primary,
Missouri, yeah.
Of course. So the primary is where the action is, which is why when I moved here, I had never been a Democrat. I lived in a state, Wisconsin, with an open primary. You didn't have to say you can only vote in this one or that one.
Right.
And when I first came here and was unable to vote in the primary here, I realized that I had disenfranchised myself, and the only way to have a say was to register as a Democrat, because Democrats were going to win, and the action was in the primary. But that shows a broken system, right there.
Right.
It's a broken system.
Yeah, I like the open primary because in my voting history, I frequently crossed over to vote for the proper Republican because in Missouri, the Republican might have been the pro-choice legislator, and the Democrat the pro-life. So you really had to pay attention and jump around to vote to give yourself a fighting chance. But I like that. It did. It forced a whole lot more participation.
Oh, boy. We're back to nut milk. Sorry. Jonathan has written, nut milk. My thought was, how does one milk their nuts?
Yeah, I know. Well, it does sound so unappetizing. That's exactly what I thought.
But
yuck.
He said, but I decided not to ask. Oh, yeah, right. You just sent it to me, so I would. Yeah, okay. All right. So, Susan,
it sounds like what causes jock itch.
My son just sent me a text, and this is one of the subjects I do want to talk about today. Well, actually, here, let's let Roger in because we've got a caller, and I'm about to change subject. So, hello.
Good morning. I didn't learn from my big sisters, and I had 5 of them. And I didn't learn because I still knocked up my girlfriend after their mistakes. So there.
Uh-oh.
You still what?
Knocked up his girlfriend. You weren't listening. You weren't listening.
No, I heard that, but I couldn't believe it. You knocked up how old were you?
Oh, 24. Oh, we've been married for 36 years, but...
that girlfriend. Okay. You're now...
Yeah. No, it's like...
Okay.
It's like...
Geez,
I have a large family. My wife has a small family, and she says my family breeds like rabbits, and I have to agree with her. So I did not learn from my big sister's mistakes like Susan has.
Okay. All right.
Well, you didn't have Lynn. Let me just put it that way.
What does that mean?
I can't tell you. She's my sister, and I'm loyal to the end.
Oh, I tell you what. If you would ever compare notes with my sisters, we'll be there for a week just comparing shenanigans. We still have lovely family reunions telling all sorts of stuff that we weren't allowed to relive when all of our kids were growing up. But now that they're grown and have kids, now we can talk about all the stupid shit because it was pretty bad, Like,
well, there's nothing more wonderful. There's nothing more wonderful than living long enough so that you can regale your mother and parents with stuff that
where the statute of limitations is clearly run.
Where all this stuff, you pull the skeletons out of the closet and have a raucous time.
Well, that's why I just shorthanded it all for my kids, and I said the only rule for them during their teenage years was that they had to survive it, and I said I'll explain all the reasons for that when you're old enough.
Great advice. But my dad did say his drinking problem really got bad when he had 5 teenage girls in the same roof at the same time.
Well, there you go. Who can blame the poor guy?
I'm on his side.
and one bathroom.
Yeah,
oh my God!
All right, I buy that man a drink. Yeah,
it's a little late. He's moved on.
I know.
It was funny. We had a good time.
Okay. Hey, thanks, Roger. Enjoyed.
All right. Have a good day, both of you.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.
Remember the time that Mom and Dad installed a sink in your bedroom so that we could get you out of the bathroom?
Yes, I do. That was odd.
I often wish they'd left it there, but never mind.
Yeah. Well, that's what. Yeah. It's funny that was. Let's just give her own sink. No toilet. They knew that's not what it was going on when I was in the bathroom. It was all about the sink and a mirror. Actually, they could have just done a dressing table. They didn't even need the sink. Right?
Well, they were covering their bases. They drew the line at a total ensuite, but they were going to give you a sink.
I forgot about that.
I guess it's called a one piece. I've never heard of anything like that, but that would be a one piece, all right.
So Sam sent me a tweet from somebody, and it's a subject that I had wanted to cover because I must admit I was surprised to hear that Biden had said the pandemic is over. I mean, and when you think that we've all been, pandemic, we've been living this for over 2 years, and been such a huge,
and there's still 400 people a day dying from it.
Yeah, but that he would. I think it was one of the late night hosts said, "Geez, I just didn't think that what the announcement that when the pandemic is finally over, the announcement would come in an aside in a auto plant in Detroit." Which is true. What? So, what my son sent me is this from very serious looking guy who says 2 Americans died from COVID in the time you've been listening to me speak. Another 2 will die in the next 5 minutes. An expected 500 dead total for the day, although I've been seeing 400.
Me too.
We're seeing. Let's not give Biden a pass for the pandemic is over. Imagine if Trump had said it. Well, here, I want to say that I get it. First of all,
90% of the country has been acting like the pandemic was over since it started.
That's why. And that is why. If the people say it's over, it's over. You can't, the government now, if it continues to say it isn't, only harms itself. So I'm
right.
sure
and
what
those
Biden
of us
said was political. It's a political thing that he said, because we got a serious election coming up, and if the American people have by and large said, hey, we got to get on with our lives. Most of us, or many of us who care about it, are vaccinated, we're boosted. We all know people who have had it, they're alive. We see that, yeah, you could get it, you get sick. Generally speaking, it's survivable. We got to move on because we're losing our minds. Okay, that I get. So,
well, it's actually, we got to move on because the risk assessment has shifted. And we have to look at other things like, is it more damaging not to put kids back in school because there's still this, or to put them back and manage it? And I do think that the number of people that are paying attention to vaccinations and boosters has reached its limit, and those of us that do, and those of us that don't won't.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I've pretty much gone back to life. I've eaten in a restaurant. I go shopping.
Mm-hmm. I've been going in. I have too. I've decided that's it.
Well, I got the last booster. I'm 2 weeks out, so I feel more protected against Omicron. Yeah. So, I have been out and about. I actually was annoyed. I went to a lecture the other day where masks were mandatory, and I felt very like I wanted to take mine off. I mean, the people on the stage weren't masked. I thought, well, fuck that. If they aren't, why the hell do I have to be? So, I mean, I know this can strain, what I know to be true of the virus and how it gets about. But I also know that, again, it's sort of it's you balance things. And our lives have gotten so out of balance that my need for normal social interaction has finally overwhelmed. Well, it's outweighed the risks because there's treatments and you're vaccinated.
Right.
So it's out. So it's time. So you get to reassess the risk. Honestly, what I'm mostly afraid of now is all of the viruses that were suppressed while we were off.
Yeah.
And because I mean, my kids, my grandkids are back to being walking petri dishes, which is in its own way a very positive sign of life returning to normal. But on the other hand, I don't want what they got either.
Well, but that's par for the course. I mean, right? So, maybe that's what it is, Susan. Only mask around your grandchildren.
That's it.
the little, little
sweetnesses. Nana's afraid of you.
Yeah. So, get a flu shot. I'm going to get a flu shot. I don't know. And again, we don't know if this is the right flu shot or blah, blah, blah. But in as much as I can be armed against all these viruses, and if the flu starts getting out and about and is a nasty flu, I'll go back to masks in crowded spots.
Because we know they work.
Winter.
I'm not. Exactly. I think masks are handy dandy. They clearly keep me from getting sick. So I think I don't have a problem with that.
No, me either. All right, so there, we did that. We have a call.
Are you not going to talk about Adnan Syed?
No, I'm not. Hey, hang on a minute. Caller, hello. Hello.
Hi, Lynn. Hi. I think what he said, I heard what he said was the pandemic is over, but COVID is not over. And there's a big difference.
That's true.
And that's what needs to be played. Not, Biden said, no. He said, we still have COVID and we're going to have COVID for a very long time. And that's what we have to deal with. And you take your precautions and I'll take mine. And hopefully we'll stay healthy. But if you want to, just do whatever, then go ahead. But also, getting vaccinated, getting boosted, all this stuff, that all helps us. The COVID is going to be around for a long time. And I think that was his distinction.
I think just around forever. Yeah.
Forever. Right. The pandemic as we experience, in 2021, hell yeah, that's over. That's over.
Riddance.
But we still have to be aware.
Well, I found his quote, and he said, "We still have a problem with COVID. We're still doing a lot of work on it, but the pandemic is over.
That's over. Right. Forewarned is forearmed. That's what I say.
I'll drink to that. Thank you.
Me too. Thanks.
Can we drink? Great.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.
That was all somewhere.
Screwdrivers and Bloody Marys all around. So mimosa.
Okay. So thank you for that distinction. I think that's absolutely
Have a great day, girl.
correct.
Bye.
Okay. Yeah, you too. Okay. Hang on while I just sort of in my head regroup. Susan, you had said, am I going to talk about, here's why I'm not. This is the guy who was jailed for a murder. He's been in jail for 20 some years. He was the subject of a
He was the first subject of serial. Yeah.
A serial. That's SERIAL. And a judge just let him walk. So I never listened. I never followed that. So I'm not, I just, I'm not.
That was the only one I followed. I know you followed a subsequent one and got very involved. But this one, I thought that they had very carefully laid out a very good case for reasonable doubt. And now what is interesting is they find that the prosecutors misbehaved and suppressed evidence.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
incredible.
Yeah. So he's out.
Incredible. And they, in fact, even might have, they think they might know who really did do it. But this guy who was 18 years old at the time spent the next, 23?
Right. I mean, this is what I don't understand. Why prosecutors would prefer to charge the person that they have good reason to believe is innocent when they already know who the other two are. I don't understand how that happens and where that comes from, because that's basically exactly what happened.
It's just an outrage. I mean, prosecutors who knowingly suppress evidence or don't give the defense evidence, that it seems that there should be a real penalty for that.
Well, there is. I mean, they can charge them. They can certainly go after them. But clearly they don't. And I just don't. Anytime a prosecutor makes the decision not to share that which they are legally required to share, the question is, well, why? And there's only one answer, because it leads to an acquittal.
Mm-hmm. Hey, have you heard of the case of this is another outrageous thing in our so-called justice system. The young girl in Iowa. Yeah,
where they raised all the money to pay her fine and more. Yeah.
Well, I want to talk about this.
This
is a girl who killed somebody. That is not disputed. She killed a man who had raped her repeatedly, who had sexually trafficked her, and she was a child.
Right.
She was a young teenager. And she eventually she killed him. So she is found guilty. Well, no, I think she pleaded. She pleaded. They went after her for first degree murder. And her attorney said, "Hey, you got to make a plea deal here." And the plea deal was she would lesser 5 years.
I think she was acquitted, but that the family sued her, and the judge found that she had to pay them.
No.
That isn't what happened. Oh, this doesn't make any sense.
I don't think so. I think it was a plea deal. Blah 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 blah. And it turns out and the judge was trying really hard. First of all, it was one of those cases where it was there was no jury. The judge was making the decision. So all of that is worked out in a plea deal, right? I don't know. The judge, the defense really was afraid because she's black, and the jury would be probably overwhelmingly white, that if she were to go to trial on this first-degree murder charge, she could spend her life in
but
jail.
she doesn't have to go. She can choose just to go in front of a judge and not go in front of a jury.
Well, then that was the choice made. The judge, said, this is not first degree. This is this. He had it down as low as it could go. But turns out, and listen to this, there is a law in Iowa that allows a judge no discretion. It's just a law. If you murder somebody in Iowa, and found guilty, you have to pay the family of the murdered person $150,000.
That's like from a saga.
It's ridiculous.
No, I mean, it's really like ancient.
Because in this case, she was killing her rapist. And
she was acting in self-defense.
Yes. And yet the law gave this judge no leeway. And so he had to tell her, and you're like she's got $150,000, right? She got nothing. You talk about stupid laws. Here's a stupid law, that there would be no discretion. I can see plenty of times when that would be a wonderful thing.
Well, yeah, I mean, it certainly would be the other side of stand your ground. Every time one of these yahoos blows someone away, they got to pay $150,000. It might put a little damper on sport hunting, if you know what I mean.
Exactly right. So anyway, someone put up a GoFundMe thing for her. And they raised, I think they're closing in on $500,000. Which is wonderful because it will pay the rapist's effing family.
And maybe get her some therapy.
Get her therapy, get her an education, whatever.
Mostly what we have to get her is someone to tell her that you're allowed to protect yourself if somebody is raping you and trafficking you. And I think shooting them is a perfect thing. Talk about standing your ground if your body, wait a minute, I forgot what I was saying. Your body, if you're a woman, is not your own in the United States. Cancel everything I just said. Never mind.
Okay. Now, what else do I have here? I love this. This is. I was watching I'm trying to catch up on. I'm sorry. Better Call Saul. Is that something that you ever?
I know what it is. No, because I never watched. I never watched Breaking Bad, so I never watched. Never Call Saul, but my son adores it, so I know everything about it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so I'm catching. I've been catching up to the last episode, which I'm gonna last season, which I'm gonna start, I think, today. And in one of the episodes, it starts with, Saul gets like abducted, pulled into a car. He's eating an ice cream cone. The cone falls on the sidewalk, and the opening. The photography is just mind-blowing, is an ant. What you see is, you're watching your TV and an ant approaching. And in some ways it was so icky. Somehow when an insect is much bigger than it's supposed to be, you see it in a way that it's just like, whoa. And I was so blown away by this video of this ant navigating an ice cream cone, and then other ants navigating the ice cream cone, and it was a visual that was used both at the beginning and at the end of the segment. It was powerful as hell. But I'm bringing this up because somebody
counted all the ants.
Somebody has counted all the ants in the world. Now,
I did not read that. What was the methodology for this?
Well, the methodology is just, I mean, obviously there's an estimate that is done at some point, but they took the information from all over the globe of scientists doing what scientists do. And from that, they figured that it's a number that you cannot wrap your head around, obviously. Put it another way, there are, for every one of us, for every human on this planet, there are probably about 2.5 million ants for every human. And here's the one that blows me away. If you were to gather up all these ants, my 1.25 million, my 2.5 million, yours, everybody's 2.5 million ants, and we're able to weigh them, they would outweigh all of the mammals and wild birds in the world altogether. Yow!
Well, they have a huge job to do. They aerate. That's right. They clean up crap. They're very, very busy, productive citizens of the world.
That's correct. More so than us.
Yes.
But I just wanted to. That is just mind blowing. The ant population, and wow. Okay. Oh, job opening. Where is it? Come on. I could not believe this job. And I can't find it. Damn it. It's like so good you can't believe it. They're looking for, and this is again a science related thing. They're looking for somebody, and I can't tell you where because I can't find it, who can vomit on command.
Oh, well, there's a whole wing of an eating disorder place of people that can do that.
Yeah, right. But you mean you're allowed to stick your finger down your throat? I was thinking it's just somebody you say, okay, vomit, and they just vomit.
Yeah, I think there's people that can do that too.
Well, that's pretty amazing. It's a clinic in Amsterdam, actually, that is looking. And it's because they are trying to treat people with a phobia to vomiting. And one of the ways you treat somebody is by
desensitizing them.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
I don't think this is the problem. Yeah, if you're afraid to vomit, you'll suffer for a second, but if you're going to vomit, you're going to vomit, and then and then it's all over. I just don't understand trying to fix this. It's just not that much of
Well, it can be but I actually have a friend who has this phobia, and
my husband never.
No, this is. Well,
and when he did once, he was horrified.
Well, no, for some people, it is almost debilitating. It makes them avoid anything that could possibly get them ill, where they might, it becomes something that informs their choices. It is a true phobia. But, I can't imagine how awful to make people who are so fearful of it have to watch other people vomit, which is what the job would be. They have, oh God, and that's the desensitization, but I guess, I don't know if it works. Anyway, this application for a job in which you vomit, they had over 100 applications.
Yeah, but you see, I don't think that's the part that's not good for you. These people are volunteering to vomit repeatedly, and that's just so bad for your esophagus. I mean, you'll get all the things that people with bulimia get.
Yeah.
Not a good idea. Don't volunteer for that one.
Well, there might be something where you don't have to do it more than once a week or something. I don't know. Hey, I don't know if you saw it. The New York Times Magazine often has this little thing on how to do something, and they compiled a whole bunch of them. How to do like how to rescue a cat from a tree, how to tell gunfire from fireworks, how to stop biting your nails, you know. And each one of these is a little thing, and some of them are just wonderful. And I'd like to share some with you. Okay. How to, I'm looking for a good one. Oh dear. How to be naked in public. Why would that ever be a thing?
I don't want to do that.
No, we don't want to do that one. How to escape a burning building. How to survive a stampede. No?
Okay. Don't think it's an issue, but go ahead.
Well, you don't know. Survive a shark attack. How to undress someone quickly.
Okay, let's go with that one.
Okay, let's do that one. Undress someone quickly. And I remember actually reading this one when it first appeared. I thought, what the hell would you want to wear? And you know where it's used? It's used in the theater.
Right.
When an actor
a costume change
stage, and there's a real fast costume change, and sometimes I know I've seen some theater where you thought, geez, how did they do that? Or even in a rock concert where some rock singer might run off and then come back in a totally different regalia. So they went to the theatrical workers for it. So do you really want to know? What do you think would be?
Velcro. Well, I mean, in that case, they've already dealt with it.
Well, wear knee pads.
Okay.
Because you're on your
crawling around.
You're on your knees a lot for some reason. Wait a minute.
You're pulling things down, and you're on your knees.
Okay, you go for the bottom half of the body. Actually, you go for the bottom half, and if it's a real quickie, the actor will start on the top. And when you're trying to learn how to do this, it's not unusual for the actor and the undresser to get tangled up or to bump heads. But eventually, I guess you get it pretty well down. And because it happens in a darkened side of, darkened wing of a theater, the person wearing the knee pads has to wear a headlight.
Right.
Yeah.
But you can get those at the grocery store at this point.
Yeah. And obviously, if it involves a quick change, there ain't no buttons. There's Velcro.
Right. See, and I think this is just totally misleading because this is, you've got someone that's trying to help you and blah, 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 blah. I mean, how to undress someone quickly to me is saying you've got someone who cannot help you. And there's a medical emergency, and in that case, it's real easy. You just get a scissors.
Hey, Susan,
no, but
here's one.
Yes,
here's one for you. How do you become less angry?
You practice gratitude.
You think? Oh,
Yeah.
here it is. Here's the one. How to have sex in a canoe.
Don't. You'll be having sex underwater.
No, it turns out that a lot of Canadians apparently.
Okay, you lie on the bottom of the canoe.
The Canadians actually pride themselves because on being able to have sex in a canoe. As a matter of fact, a Canadian historian once famously said, "A Canadian is somebody who knows how to make love in a canoe."
Well, right. You just have to, center the center of gravity at the middle as much as you can of the canoe.
Also, you have to take the center thwart out.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you wouldn't. I don't know.
Fit.
Yeah. You have to let your hips roll with the canoe. You have to make sure your body is relaxed.
It's like riding a motorcycle.
You want to make sure that there is always some body part visible above the gunwale. So the reason being that if people on a lake were to see an empty canoe, they might come toward you thinking you might have fallen overboard or need help.
Right.
So
but if you stick up a naked part of your body, they'll know it's just two Canadians screwing.
That's right. They will avoid you. Because you do not, a canoe that appears to have nobody in it raises alarm.
You just hang a do not disturb sign off your oar.
So the guy who said this about the thing about Canadians, his first date with his wife was a 7-week canoe trip. Yeah. And he says that having sex in a canoe bonds people together in ways that linger. Just want to say.
Well, there's probably a lot of laughter involved.
Well, and there's the Milky Way overhead. And
are we going to get back to nut milk?
No, I hope not. Anyway, how to have sex in a canoe, ladies and gents.
You see, this is what I'm talking about. Lynn always taught me things that I might not otherwise know.
Well, you never know when you never know when you might have to undress somebody quickly.
And here's how I would have heard this story as a teenager. Lynn coming in laughing, telling me how she ended up in the emergency room because she almost drowned while trying to screw in a canoe.
That's right. Okay. Well, here's another one, but we're out of time, so it'll have to wait till next week. How to knot a cherry stem with your tongue.
Oh, my daughter can do that.
Can she?
Yeah. Eric could do it, and he taught Leah how to do it.
Totally cool. Well, here then, he might have even.
Not sure. Arlie might be able to do it too. I don't know who taught who. But Leah is the one who still to this day can, it's her stupid ant trick, as in AUNT.
She can. Okay, next time I see her, I wanna see this. She can.
Well, you should all have a healing thought for her because she's even as we speak under a surgeon's knife. So,
wait a minute. Her back.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah.
Why don't you tell me things like that?
I just did.
Well, that's not a way to tell me about that. What kind of a surgery?
She's having a herniated disc that's impinging on her sciatic nerve fixed.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
she'll be home this afternoon. The wonders of modern medicine.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm glad she'll be better after. Wow.
Yes, and the nurse said to her, "Were you told that this hurts a lot?" And Leah said,
after.
Does it hurt as much as a tonsillectomy when you're an adult? And she goes, "Oh, hell no, we give you drugs."
Okay.
So Leah's not worried about it because it's not as bad as a tonsillectomy as an adult. So
okay, all right.
Okay. Healing thoughts, everybody. I'll pass them along.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Wow. All right. Thanks, Suze.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. And as for the rest of you, I'll see you tomorrow, okay? Or, I mean, that's metaphorically speaking. Have a good one.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.